Welcome back to the Red Zone. 6:04 on the campus of Illinois State University, and not such a beautiful Thursday night, is it? It's raining out, but we're in here. We're doing our thing.
That's the thing. We're nice and cozy in the studio, so we're good. We're dry in here. We're ready to talk a little cross country. Or how about you?
Oh, I'm ready. It's a little warm in here, though. I was saying during the break, it's a little too hot in here.
It is. We could use a fan. I know Steve, our advisor, doesn't want it because of the noise. We can get some silent fans.
Silent fans are definitely a thing.
Absolutely.
So we're now sitting down with Rachel Hickey from Redbird Cross Country. And before we dive in, before we start having some fun, before we get into this interview, Rachel actually has a little bit in common with the rest of us down here at the radio station. Should I let her tell everyone?
Yeah, we let her tell it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hi, first of all. I'm also a journalism major, but that's not all, actually. I'm a journalism double major along with integrated marketing communications, and I'm also a minor in athletic coaching.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's impressive.
That is
I could barely handle one major. You're doing two majors, a minor, and a Division I athlete. You're a Division I athlete.
Yeah, how do you find time for all that?
I don't really.
Right?
You just kind of have to make time in some ways.
How many credit hours did you say you were taking?
I have to average about 15 to 17.
Okay.
So not too
so
bad.
it's still two majors, a minor, and a sport.
And
That's
15
still a
to
lot.
17 credit hours. That's a lot. I mean, I took 19 and that was a grind, and I took 15 after that and it was still a grind. So, but we're also not.
School's a
competing
grind.
We're also not playing sports and doing all that. You did bring up coaching, so I kind of want to dive into that really quick. Have you coached before? Do you have any experience with that?
I volunteered over the summers in high school with a youth track clinic, just kind of helping them out when they need to demonstrate a couple little drills and run laps with the kids, basically. So I've always been really interested in it, and it's also just to connect the whole sports aspect of it, because I definitely want to do something in sports.
Yeah, and I was just gonna ask you that. You said you want a future in sports, whether it's reporting, broadcasting. Is coaching also something you possibly can see yourself doing in the future?
For sure. I would definitely be okay with coaching in my future at some point, especially if the opportunity presents itself where I can volunteer assistant coach and still continue to train if my career goes that direction.
And I know you probably get asked this a lot, but what kind of gave you the inspiration to want to go into broadcasting and journalism? Because you work at the Vidette too, right?
Yes, I do. I'm a features and sports reporter at the Vidette. Okay. So I guess I just was very interested in a lot of different things growing up. I thought about doing PT, and I can't really handle blood too well. And I'm not a big. Oh gosh, no, I'm not a big science person. So I just kind of took a step back and looked at my strengths, and I really just loved two things, and that was running and writing. And I realized I was significantly better than some of my classmates at writing as well. So I figured, why not find something hands-on to do with that.
And I'm sure you were probably significantly better at the running part too than most of your classmates.
Sure.
I mean, just taking a look at what you've done just this year, you've had really solid past 2 weeks, 2 straight weeks, MVC Women's Runner of the Week. You set, I believe it was you increase your 5K time decrease your 5K time
there you go.
by 13 seconds or something, around there.
Yeah, I set a new personal best is how we
A new
refer
personal
to
best,
it.
yeah. And then last week, you ran the fastest 6K out of anyone in the valley.
Yeah, arguably.
She's so humble about it. Yeah, I'd just be, I ran the fastest time out of anyone in the valley.
But that's good though, and I think even with our what we do, and you being an athlete, you always want to get better, and you always want to push yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And would you consider yourself kind of like a perfectionist? Like you have to do things a certain way if you don't feel a certain way, because that's how we feel even doing this. So I'm sure even on your scale, it's just like that too.
Oh, I'm definitely a perfectionist. Definitely very type A with a lot of things. Yeah, my planner is absolutely crazy. I have to write every single thing down. So
I like that.
And so,
I wish I could do that.
Oh, me too. And so do you have what's your routine? How do you get ready before every meet? What gets you ready? What do you listen to? Maybe a little music. What do you eat? Give us the rundown before meet.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the same kind of stuff every week. And it's weird because I get asked this question a lot, but it's one of the hardest questions for me to answer for some reason. But it's like the same type of breakfast every morning. If the race is in the evening, I'll have a cup of coffee. If it's in the morning, I usually won't. But just like a bagel and peanut butter type stuff, and then I guess just kind of hang out, try not to get too in my head. There's a playlist that a bunch of us made over the summer, a bunch of athletes, I should say, that went to Costa Rica over the summer for the U20 Pan Ams. We all collabed and made a Spotify playlist, so that's usually what I'll listen to. It's got a lot of random stuff in it. I can't really explain half the stuff in there, but it's fun.
And how was that experience down in Costa Rica?
I can't really put it into words how, like, exciting and how just, like, cool that was. I know cool is, like, a bad word to use. It's not very descriptive.
I get it. Yeah,
but it really was just, like, life-changing for me.
So you got to do that, and then we'll stay kind of last year, too. You, as a freshman, a true freshman, you competed in the MVC Championships. You were in the NCAA Midwest Regional. What was that like, just being a freshman, being at the NCAA Regionals where, the country's elite are there? And how'd that feel being a true freshman, being able to say, like, wow, I'm already a part of the country's elite?
It's definitely, like, the kind of stuff that I talked about with Coach Bovey when I was being recruited to come here, was to be able to do that and be a contributor on the team right away. And, I mean, I definitely couldn't have done any of it without him or the help of Coach Brandt and my teammates, but I guess just knowing that, it gives me a lot of confidence, and that's part of why this season has been how good, I guess, it's been, is because I've just had a lot more confidence on the grass and just started to believe that I'm a cross-country runner and I can run distance.
And with all the success that you've had, I mean, you've had a lot. What are some long-term, like, goals that you have for yourself? Because you're only a sophomore. I mean, you have 2 more years after this and the rest of this year. So what are, like, some goals that you're really shooting for?
This year, just, like, talking with Coach and kind of, like, what his ideas are and what my ideas are. We really want to win the Valley as a team, and so I just want to be able to do whatever I can at conference to help my team, whether that's winning and scoring 1 point or just being in the top 5. Like, there are really good runners in the Valley, so I don't want to discredit any of them for sure.
Of course.
And then hopefully just try to get all region to set up for next year where we can hopefully qualify for the NCAA championships and cross. And then just looking at, like, the track side of things, just the same idea is, since I redshirted last year for outdoor, just having a really great redshirt freshman campaign to set up for the rest of my career, and hopefully at some point, depending on where I'm at, 4 or 5 years from now, when I'm finally out of here, I'll be here a while, that I can have kind of like what I was talking about earlier with the coaching type of thing, where I have the opportunity to keep training and hopefully keep competing at the next level.
And when you say coaching, do you want to coach, like, high school? Do you want to coach college? Like, is there a club for, like, running too, or is it more just school-based stuff?
I would definitely like to keep with, like, collegiates at some point.
Okay.
Just because I think that's where a lot of, like, the coaching success is as well. And coaching collegiates has always just been, like, not a dream of mine or a goal of mine, but it's been in my mind, I guess, that it would be pretty cool and just an experience I would like to have.
And are there maybe some Olympic aspirations anywhere in there? Because, you're here running at Illinois State and you're really successful at it so far. I think that kind of have to be in your head. Is it there? Is that something that you might one day, like, think, let's do this?
I mean, yeah, it's just kind of like, you're growing up as an athlete as a kid and you're like, yeah, I want to be an Olympian. Like, it's one of those childhood dream kind of things. But I obviously recognize, like, it's not going to be an easy journey whatsoever. It's going to take a lot of hard work and probably a lot of time too. But I think, like, just setting up for that right now is the best thing I can do, and just being prepared to work that hard.
And you're talking about the Olympics. Do you watch the Olympics every summer?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Of course. Yeah. So, like, if you had to pick, so I'm guessing you watch track and field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you probably love that. Who is, like, your favorite runner that you kind of watch, or maybe even, like, kind of admire and try to, be like them?
That's actually a really easy question. Emma Coburn, 100%.
Oh, okay.
Can you just, like...
I was going to say, I don't know if you guys know who she is,
like,
but...
you're saying both. Like,
No, Emma Coburn is one of the USA's best steeple chasers, and I don't run steeplechase, probably never will, but she's always...
Can you explain that?
She's always just been one of my favorite people to follow. I know she's she trains with Aisha Pratt, who actually ran here as well, who's an Olympic athlete from Illinois State for Jamaica. So they train together, and just both of them, I just admire their characters and the way they carry themselves. And Emma's a world champ in the steeplechase. So.
And what is the steeplechase?
Yeah, so
right now.
It's kind of like hurdles for distance. That's the best way I can describe it. But
and that's challenging. I mean, running itself is challenging, and then when you're tired and you're trying to jump and hurdle,
right? I could barely just do the running part. I can't. I could barely get past just the running part. All right, I want to ask you a couple more like lighthearted questions. Obviously, as an athlete, you travel to a bunch of different schools, a bunch of different places. What's been your favorite, either school or just different city, state that you've gotten to travel to, with the team?
I would say with the team, I definitely really enjoy the Notre Dame trips that we take. We usually take one every season, cross, indoor, outdoor, or a couple in indoor for like the Mayo Invitational, which is a big indoor invite that Notre Dame hosts. But, like this summer, I got to travel to Miami with Coach Brandt for the USA Juniors, and that was a lot of fun as well.
And like playing hockey, I always had like a favorite brand skate. So I think that's kind of relates to you. Do you have like a favorite brand shoe that you go to, or do you kind of just wear everything?
I train in Asics. I've just always needed them. My feet have so many issues. I need the support of an Asics shoe, and Nike just doesn't provide that. But we are a Nike-sponsored school, so I will wear Nikes when I have to.
See, and running, I mean, when I think about it, I have some nightmares because I had really bad shin splints. Have you ever had anything like that with running, or?
Minus the one injury last spring that put me on crutches and forced me to redshirt outdoors. I've actually been, knock on wood, pretty fortunate with major injuries. I've had a couple like IT band issues, but.
Okay. And last question here before we let you go. Like I said, you travel a bunch of places. You've ran at a bunch of different schools, a bunch of different states. What's been the toughest course that you've ran?
I would say probably the course at UW-Madison. We ran that last year for the pre-national invitational, and I don't know if it was because it was below freezing temperatures that day or the course was really just that bad, but it was a rough day.
I know we said last question, but
it's fine.
It's going so fast.
Yeah, all right.
We're losing time, but just some fun questions for you. I know you have such a busy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still get to watch like Netflix or stream TV, anything like that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I make time for that too.
She's like, absolutely. What's your like favorite go-to show?
Friends.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I have not, but my brother is a huge fan.
Is he ready for the El Camino movie tonight?
I'm sure he would be, but he is up in the Cascade Mountains right now, so really? I don't think he gets television service.
What's he doing up there?
He's just doing some, philanthropy work and managing some water systems up in Holden Village. It's like a little religious community.
Okay.
So.
Wow, that's really awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get to go visit him in December, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
So do you ski and stuff like that?
No, but I'm going to learn, I guess.
All right.
Well, Rachel, thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us here in studio. Rachel Hickey and the rest of the cross-country team next Friday will be in Peoria at the Bradley Classic. And then October 25th, they're at the Bulldog Invite in Carmel, Indiana. And after that, it's the Missouri Valley Championships. Rachel, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking some high school football and Redbird football. You're listening to the Red Zone on 103.3 WZND.